It's time for the type of energy only Darren McCarty and Neil Rule can give. It's time for Big D Energy, live on Woodward Sports. Join four-time Stanley Cup champion and legendary badass Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., as they give their takes on all things Detroit sports. The number one midday show in Detroit is on. Welcome to Big D Energy.
Welcome to Woodward Sports. This is Big D Energy, and we are live from the 28th Annual Athletes Unlimited Golf Outing. I am Justin Satawa, and I am here with the legend Terry Foster and KG holding it down on both audio and TD. Shout out to him being versatile in the booth over there.
Very, very nice out here. I was not going to show up today until I found out I was doing the show with you, and I said, I'm showing up now.
Hey, I'm lucky to do it because I actually grew up sitting in the back seat listening to you, and so this is very, very fun for me to be able to enjoy this show with you today. But we're going to get right into it. T-Foss, would you rather talk about the collapse of the Tigers or the collapse of the Lions?
Oh, God, please. A collapse of the Tigers, of course. Now, I was a little surprised today. You said you wanted to talk about the Lions' backup quarterback situation.
Oh, yes. I am so eager to talk about who the Lions' backup quarterback could possibly be. Is he on the roster? Is he not on the roster? Is Penix playing in the preseason game? I know that's what everybody wants to talk about.
I talked to my league people, and actually the backup is going to be Kirk Cousins. So they're going to play against them on Friday. So he's auditioning for the Lions.
Well, hopefully the scouts get a good look at him. But we are just joking with you. We are two people who apparently are not big preseason talk guys in the space.
I'll be honest. I hate preseason football because I've been fighting with Matt Broder. I've been fighting with everybody. Says, "Oh, football has started." That's bullshit. It's not started. This is not real football.
Yeah, no, it is not. You can tell, and it's just so sloppy out there. I mean, the Lions had 5 turnovers. It's not even up to par with elite college football, and that's where I kind of tune out. I mean, you didn't even see any ones in the Hall of Fame game at all, and you're probably going to see very limited ones in this first actual preseason game because the Hall of Fame game doesn't even count as a preseason game, which is even stupider.
Right, and the other thing is when you run into the remedial out in there. I've already run into a couple of people. Hey, T, are you concerned about the Lions? I said, why? Well, they look awful in the preseason game. And I don't care. My wife's going to get mad at me. But the people playing the preseason game are going to be saying, may I help you, please, at Burger King and McDonald's in a couple weeks.
Fries in the bag, huh?
Or do you want ketchup with your French fries? Or we got some great dishwashers over here I can show you. That's where they're going to be.
Yeah, and you were saying that your wife wasn't letting you talk about the fact that they're going to be working at Burger King or McDonald's, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
and
she thinks I'm mean. She says you shouldn't.
I don't think you're mean. I think you're blunt.
No. How about accurate? It's true. Some of these people are going to be working at Home Depot. And there's nothing wrong with working at Home Depot.
No.
I'd work there if they hire me.
Yeah, you would really work at Home Depot, Terry?
Yeah.
Doing what?
You know what? I take it back.
You going to be selling the toilets?
I can't
what you
work
gonna do?
at Home Depot because I don't know anything about washers. I don't know anything about tools. I don't know. I would just be somebody walking around saying, hey, the tools are in aisle 8 or
Right.
aisle 16. I couldn't do anything
That's all
else.
they do anyway. I'm pretty
Right.
sure most of the people in there aren't really home educated for real. But
I could work at McDonald's. I could do that.
you would
Be
get
a greeter.
irritated. Working drive-through, you would lose your mind, Terry.
Oh, you know who worked right?
Because
daughter.
of people on left and right.
Like,
No,
what?
my daughter worked drive-through, and she said there's a key to working drive-through at McDonald's. Know about all the specials on coffee and burgers and stuff because the old people come in looking for a discount.
True.
They want to save some money.
True.
Every discount they had, she memorized them, and she said, hey, you can get that, but if you order it medium, you're going to save 50 cents, and people loved her.
Yeah, I mean, see, Terry, I think the problem is with the younger crowd. Like, how would you do, like, the younger people? Because Yeah, they can be a bit rude at times.
I understand that, and I understand why they're rude. I get along with young people,
Yeah, you do.
even though I'm old.
Yeah.
But I understand that. I don't want to be this guy. When I grew up, oh, you can't be listening to that. Oh, you can't do this. I'm not going to be the old guy that's going to look at you and say, don't listen to your music or don't eat your favorite foods. Don't do this, because I went through that, and I said, I'm not going to do it when I get old.
Right.
If
It's no
I
need
get
to
old.
argue. Parents just don't understand.
Oh, don't wear your hair like that, too. It's too damn long.
That's something that I deal with all the time as I wear the long hair and the beard proudly. But you know what was not proud was the Tigers' performance this weekend. And the chat has already brought it up. Man, it would have been nice to go after a guy like Duran at the trade deadline, and his entrance as he came in last night to shut the Detroit Tigers down was ice cold, and that is something that puts real fear down an opposing team's back as
You know
your
what, bro?
closer comes in to
I
slam
would
the
have
door.
given up 2 prospects just for the intro.
Yeah, that intro was fire.
You know,
The intro
I'm
was
like,
fire.
damn, can you imagine this at Comerica Park on a Friday night?
Yeah.
That'd be better than the fireworks they have.
No,
100%.
seriously. Seriously.
I think that in a real sense, though, they really missed out on, as Duran was the prize of the trade deadline in terms of the relief pitching market, there were other guys out there who were rentals that you could have gotten without getting rid of your future in terms of McGonigal, Clark, and Resenio and Rayner. I think that's the issue for me, is where you could have found ways to not part with your guys and got this team to be better. And it even showed with the left-handed pitching being so dominant for the Phillies yesterday as well.
You know, that is absolutely correct. But I think we are, hate to say this, but we are in a time now where every executive wants to take the long, slow road. And they're afraid to get rid of their prospects. I mean, they've gathered prospects. God bless you. That's good. But prospects aren't just about developing them and playing them. It's about getting trade chips. Dave Dombrowski, remember him?
Oh, yeah.
He used to be the GM of the Tigers. He made the big move.
You
So
got
if
to
he
run.
was here, he would have gone all in.
He
Yes,
was
he
spending
would've.
prospects like Monopoly money
Right.
back then.
But Dombrowski liked to collect arms, and he would trade them too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Dombrowski was here, we'd be hearing that sweet ass introduction to Comerica Park.
That's a
I
fact.
can see both of y'all doing like this when he's about to come in.
Yeah.
But you know, I think I get the conservative thing, and I like playing the long term too. When you're in third place in your division, you have an outside chance of making the playoffs. I'm all for that. But when you have now it's the 4th best record in baseball. When you had the best record in baseball, and you know you're making the playoffs, you know you're winning this janky division, I'm like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, my issue is you have the best record in the AL still, and you're currently tied, but you had a chance to put a stranglehold on this whole league where you could have been the prohibitive favorite, and now you see teams that are leapfrogging you in terms of talent when you go and you look at on paper the rosters, and obviously, you know, the rosters are only good as they're utilized, and obviously we have AJ Hinch who will utilize this roster to its full potential, but it would have been nice to have a nice piece, a right-handed bat like the two that played third base in Eugenio Suarez or Ryan McMahon. I think that's where the opportunity was missed, as well as in the bullpen, which did fall apart in one of the games this series.
I'm going to be nice today.
Okay.
Here's what could happen. Now, first of all, the regular season doesn't matter anymore because they're going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't
Correct.
care about home field advantage in baseball.
Yeah.
To me, that's like whatever.
Right.
So what you're trying to do, and maybe what the philosophy is you brought in a bunch of arms. You brought in a bunch of arms that are going to work with Chris Fetter, and so you're hoping by October or September that the Fetterism has worn off on these guys, and they're going to be solid bullpen arms. So if you can do that and not get rid of your prospects, then that could be a win-win. What we're seeing now against Philadelphia doesn't matter because Philadelphia's in the National League. But now you're going to play a bunch of teams from your division who you should beat.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is be in first place in the division when the season's over. And so, meanwhile, what you're doing is you're having Chris Fetter work with these guys and see if he can get them up to snuff. That's the win-win for the Tigers. Now, granted, that may not happen because, let's face reality. Chris Fetter is good, but he is not God.
Of course.
He can't turn everybody around. And some of these guys, when you look at their stats, you go, oh, they're not that not that good. But when you look at their game-by-game stats, I mean, they'll go 7 to 8 games, giving up no runs, and then, bam, they give up 5 runs. Then they go another 8 or 9 runs games, no runs, and they give up 8 runs. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to eliminate the clunkers. And that's what Chris Fetter is going to try to do. It could work.
Yeah.
I was actually one of the few people after the trade deadline. I was a little bit excited. 'Cause I'm like, let these guys cook and see what they have. And I may be in the minority in this, but I don't think the regular season matters now.
No, it should be a formality at this point, considering that the lead that they've built up for themselves. And not to say that the new guys aren't going to have bumps in the road, but it appears to be the guys that are already in-house that are having the most problems, at least in terms of your pitching and the bullpen. But if they come alive and these new guys can continue the path that they've been on since, starting for the team, I feel like we'll be in a better position. But I'm more worried about what this offense is going to look like, because the way they score runs sometimes is just not conducive to long-term success. Sometimes they get a lot of their runs in like the 7th, 8th, 9th inning of ball games, or they'll come out early but then won't put in any runs to go with that. And that's where you start to get concerned a little bit. And that's the only thing that I really have a gripe with Scott Harris for the trade deadline is, why didn't you go get a bat? I like that you went and got these pitchers in volume. I like the type of pitchers that you got. You're leaning on experience. I get that. But we really, really needed another source of offense for this team, and I just really wish maybe instead of 2 of those pitchers, you went out and got a guy that can help you at the plate.
I agree, but I'm going to be good again today. See, today this is Be Good Monday. Remember last year when the Tigers averaged 1 run a game?
Yeah.
They made it to the second round of the playoffs.
No, that's a fact.
So, and they got hot, and then they started scoring 2 runs a game. But you remember that offense last year was awful.
It was horrible.
This year's offense I have a little bit more confidence in.
And they only really added one guy to this mix, Gleyber Torres, who has been great for the Tigers. But relatively, you're doing it with the same guy.
They added 3 guys. Spencer
Torkelson, yes. Zach McKinstry.
Javi Baez.
And Jahmai Jones.
And Javi. And Jahmai Jones. Yep.
Those guys were no-shows last year. So I look at the Tigers signing 3 free agents.
It's a good way to look at it.
2 guys were already on the roster, but I mean, they may as well have me out there. But now Torque is dangerous. Baez is dangerous. Although he's starting to poke his little bat into the other batter's box now, which is scary.
I just think exactly what I was worried about with this team was completely exposed yesterday when they went against elite starting pitching from the left side. Christopher Sanchez had his way with every single hitter in that Tigers lineup for the most part. He was dominant. He kept his pitch count low. And then if you allow teams to do that in the postseason, you let their bullpen arms rest, where they only had to use Duran yesterday. And in a postseason series, I think that is concerning because of the fact that our bullpen in volume has proven to be shaky over the past few games. And I think that the lack of hitting, inconsistencies, all of it just starts to add up, where I think this team has more volatile holes than last year's team because the bullpen was so locked down from 6 on. If you got to the 6th inning, you were going to have a chance to win that game.
I'm going to ask you a big question, buddy boy. Think about this. Are the Tigers a number 6 or 7 ranked team in the American League that's overachieving, where they got clutch hits before they went into their little slump?
Yeah.
The bullpen actually looked good for a while. And then you got Scooble. But when you look at it, is this team not that talented? Are they overachieving, and at some point, is everything going to go?
I think it's hard to say overachieving. I just think the way that they get their success is not a sustainable method because of the fact that it's so many pieces that are if, and, or but, where it has to be the perfect scenario for everything to click. And that's where I think that other teams that have worse records than the Detroit Tigers, when it comes to a playoff series, when everything's magnified and it's more the big swings, the big pitches, I believe that there are a lot of teams out there, possibly 3 to 4 in the American League alone, that have more potential to do that than the Detroit Tigers.
Right. I think the dangerous thing, and I don't want to get in trouble again, but I think, the conservative approach you see at the Tigers is not necessarily Scott Harris. It's Chris Ilitch. I think he wants to keep payroll low.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go all out. And so last year, his way worked. They stunk for most of the season, but then they got hot, made the playoffs, beat Houston, and almost beat Cleveland. So his way of being frugal is working.
Yeah.
That's not the way that we want it to work. That's not the way we would do it. And once again, if I gave KG his gaiters and his glasses,
Kentucky
and stuff
green,
and let him loose, it would be a lot different. If Dave Dombrowski was in charge, I think here's what would happen with Dave Dombrowski. Dombrowski would want to make a move. Maybe he'd want to bring in Duran.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Ilitch said, "Well, how much does he cost?" He said, "Don't worry about it. I got this covered. Do you want to win or do you not want to win?" So you can't, as an owner, can't say, "Well, no, I really don't want to win." So I think he would press him a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we had the scenario where Dave Dombrowski was told to go shopping. That was his job. Mike Ilitch would say, "Hey, go shopping. I don't know what you can get. We need a bat. We need an arm. We need this. I don't know who to get, but get him."
Right.
So now you got the scenario where that's not the case. You don't have an owner who wants to compete. He's more of a businessman. He's running this as a business endeavor rather than a competitive endeavor. For instance, Yankees and Red Sox, they don't get it right every year, but they're in it to win it.
They go for it every single year.
They do.
Philadelphia, in it to win it. Lo and behold, Dave Dombrowski, who, when he's with the Tigers, guess what? In it to win it.
Yeah.
And you need to get in it to win it at BlackRock, as they are doing 8 weeks of giveaways. We roll into week 4. Congrats to last week's winner of the new Traeger Grill, Brian Anderson. And now you can win a helicopter tour for 2 around the city of Detroit. Enter by scanning the QR code on the screen. Every entry also gets you a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to the home football opener on September 14th. Entries close August 10th. Ready, set, sizzle.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network. Big Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Hello, sports fans. Let me tell you about Dr. Pierce. Dr. Pierce is the Michigan sports and spine expert that comes on Big D Energy every Tuesday, 11 to 1, and every Thursday on the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep 2 to 4. Make sure you tune in for the sports injury insights of Dr. Jeff Pierce, as he is trusted by Detroit athletes everywhere. DMAC trusts him, so why would you not trust him? Make sure you tune in to Dr. Pierce, and thank you to Dr. Pierce for us at his 28th annual Athletes Unlimited golf outing. As we are back, Woodward Sports Big D Energy. I am Justice Ottawa, and I am joined by the legendary Terry Foster, KG, holding it down in the booth over there.
You sounded like when you started the read Howard Cosell.
I don't even know who that is.
Wow. He's a legendary broadcaster. He's
Youngin.
old. And he would talk like this. Welcome to Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen.
When was he announcing? Would I have been old enough to see some of his games?
Were not born.
Ah, darn it.
Sorry.
It's okay. Well, I appreciate the time I am born, because we have a bunch of super chats, so shout out. The best way to reach us to ensure that your comments are read. First, we have Say It Ain't So, member for 25 straight months of the Woodward crew. Terry, you're not a fan, so why do you cover the Lions for so long?
You don't have to be a fan to cover a team. In fact, I think it's better not to be a fan to cover a team, because if you're a fan, you always want to believe in the team. I don't think you can give a accurate,
Unbiased.
unbiased thing, because you always fall for the bullshit. So if you're not a fan, you're gonna fall for it sometimes, but you use your own instincts on how you cover a team. So, but let me ask you this: do you think fans should cover teams for a newspaper? And if you do, would you believe the stuff that they're writing? Because they're going to tell you all the time, everything's great. I know they've lost 12 out of 13, but they were really competitive in those games. Do you really want that as a sports? I mean, for instance, I don't even know what it's called. What's it, Bally's now or no?
No, FanDuel.
FanDuel Sports Network.
FanDuel, okay. They're going to rah-rah you every game.
Yeah. Like
And
Tigers Live and those
right.
type of shows. Yeah.
Sometimes I've missed the Pistons game, and I turn on for the Pistons live show, and to hear them talking, I'm like, oh, Pistons kicked somebody's ass tonight. And I'm like, oh, they lost by 8. Do you want rah-rah all the time? Is that what we're supposed to do? Pom-poms, cheering?
That's
Yeah.
my biggest beef with the Red Wings fans, because I do cover the team for the capacity of Woodward Sports. Shout out Woodward Wings. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to take out my fandom. And now I'm known as a hater because I want Steve Yzerman to do something, and he will not. And I am looked at as not patient, but I mean, the patience is starting to thin. It's been 7 years, but we got a couple more of these super chats to get to. Very, very good chat today. As Rando Smalls is talking about the Tigers not wanting to leverage their future either. I'm glad Harris didn't trade our future away. $2 super chat. Then him again with a $5 super chat. Clark, McGonigal, and Briseño may be our ads for the playoffs. And that was a possibility that Scott Harris brought up.
They didn't have to trade any of them.
No, they did not. And those are none of the pieces that have been suggested to be traded either. There was only 3 top 100 prospects that were traded at this year's trade deadline, and that was able to amount for a lot of moving pieces of good players around. So that tells me they would have had an opportunity to not have to give up any of these players and improve this roster.
No, that's absolutely true. They would not have to give up McGonigal or I don't think they would have to give up their top 4 guys.
No.
Now, let's say you give up number 6 and number 7, but you got a better shot at winning the World Series this year. Would you take that?
Every day of the week.
Or are we squirrels? You know what a squirrel is? Squirrel collects acorns, and they bury them, and they save them for the winter, and sometimes the skinny squirrels don't even eat their acorns. And you know what else? Another squirrel comes and takes their acorns. So the Tigers have these wonderful acorns. They didn't even have to give up the biggest ones. So what are they saving them for? Now, let's say you're hungry right now. So you want to eat right now. The Tigers put themselves in a position to feast. The Tigers put themselves in position to win a World Series. Now, we always bitch and moan about what they have and what they don't have. But look at the other teams. Who's competing with them in the American League? The Yankees, who had 2 7-game losing streaks. Houston, who's all right. Who do you fear? With all the flaws that the Tigers have, who do you fear in the American League?
The Seattle Mariners.
Okay, you fear them?
Yes.
But here's what I say. If you position yourself better before the trade deadline, Seattle wouldn't be a factor. Here's what I always hear about sports. If you got somebody in position to crush them, crush them. Don't let up. Do everything you can to beat them. Do everything you can to destroy them. Tigers had an opportunity to destroy everybody in the American League, including Seattle. Chose not to do it. You know why? Because we want to keep the acorns because they're going to be big acorns at one point. And you know what? These guys may become winners. They may sustain the Tigers winning because they play in a stank division. But you may never be in a position where you're one of the top 1 or 2 teams in the American League. And but you are this year. So you've got a chance to grab somebody by the throat and choke them out. Why not do that?
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Dante151 with a 499 super chat clarifies that Scott Harris is not the GM, but the president of the Tigers. The GM is Jeff Greenberg. But to my belief,
difference.
It's the same difference. And
Yeah.
Scott Harris is the one that is making
He's
these
the face.
decisions unless he is handcuffed by Chris Ilitch.
Yeah, and last time I checked, when they had a press conference announcing the trade pieces, Scott Harris was up there.
Oh, yeah, he's the face, for sure. He makes the decisions.
Right.
Dirty Dr. D, 363-499 super chat. T-Foss, thoughts on toys being thrown on the courts at WNBA games recently?
I didn't like it. I thought it was trash. I thought it was childish. But that's sports. Sports is childish. It's trash. It's uncouthness. So I wouldn't have done it. I advise you not to do that when our Detroit Shock or whatever they're going to be comes back.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's it's disrespectful to women, first of all. It's lowbrow stuff. I don't like it. But, hey, that's sports.
Yeah, I think it's a little too, I agree, low on the chain for that. I don't think there's any room for that, and it's a little disrespectful to those athletes. But we're going to finish out these super chats. As Rando Smalls said, how about a chance this year and a better chance next year? Why not both? That's what I say to that for the Tigers. You nothing that you would have given up would have been here next year other than the top 4, which we've already established you wouldn't have had to give up to actually legitimately help this team.
That's true. Now, the Tigers, whether they give up the 4 or 6 prospects, they're going to be good for a while. They have positioned themselves where they're going to be good for a few years. A, they're in a stank division. B, they got talent. These guys, Torkelson, all these guys are young. These are young players, so they're going to develop together. And if you want to spend, you can spend on your own guys like the Lions are doing. So, yeah, they had a chance to not only sustain it, but to position themselves in a better spot to win a World Series this year and next year.
Yep, and I agree. And I'm going to have some homework, apparently, as Robert Colosia says I have to look up No Corcel. It's sacrilegious in the business that I don't know who that is. Would you agree with that?
Oh, You know what? Here's what I need to do a better job of. When I bring up an old timer, I need to say, "Have you heard of so and so?" Because a lot of guys at Woodward Sports have not heard of guys that I grew up with.
Yeah.
So I take it, for granted, Howard Cosell, but like my kids, they didn't know who the Three Stooges were.
Oh, God.
Right.
Larry Moore and Curly,
Right.
man. Come on.
I'm like, don't they show the reruns? Yeah, we don't watch that.
Yeah.
This is in black and white.
Right.
So I usually put it by them. And Celine, the smart one who went to Stanford, she knows everything, but she didn't know who the Three Stooges were.
That's crazy.
So I was like, wow.
The style of comedy, it was like that type of stuff was funnier back then, too.
Oh, it was funny back then.
Yeah,
You
like
can't do that
style of
today.
comedy changed for sure.
Like, I can't take a hammer and hit him in the head.
Right.
And
I mean,
go,
you could.
"Well,"
It would still be funny. It's just not going to be as funny as it would have back
but
then.
people say, "Oh, Terry's abusive. Oh,
Right.
need to get him off the air. He's going nuts. He's getting old, and he's hitting Jesus over here in the head." Reminding you, it would be a rubber hammer, and I wouldn't hurt you, but I would make a noise like, got him.
That's still pretty funny. I ain't going to lie.
No, it's funny, but we can't. There's a bunch of stuff we can't do today, so I need to.
Justin, can you tell us about Mad Packs?
Yes, I can tell you about Mad Packs. Mad Packs is the best pre-rolls in the game. They have the high-low pre-roll and the boom shakalakas that hit like a dream. The Maui Wowie is my favorite, and they be hooking up. Shout out to our guy Colton on the golf course right now. So make sure you go into any of their locations that they are in. They are in over 30 dispos in the Metro Detroit area. So make sure that you get some Mad Packs, Mad Highs.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about Loom Cannabis. Loom Cannabis is the biggest dispensary dealer in the entire state of Michigan, with locations all the way from Walled Lake up to Petoskey. They have some of the best cannabis in the game, including their Buzz and Drink, 7.5 milligrams of THC in a nice seltzer with multiple flavors. My favorite is the pink lemonade. So make sure you go to Loom today, WSEN30, to get 30% on your order, or scan the QR code on the screen. And welcome back to Big D Energy. I am Justin Satawa, and I am joined with the legendary Terry Foster. KG holding it down in the automated booth over there. We are here to talk to you today about some more Detroit Lions football, as the waves of the NFL have been set by Micah Parsons, as he has expressed interest in a trade on social media. And Spencer Raxter, our very own of the Woodward Heavyweights,
out.
has come out and said he would trade 3 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, regardless of they are able to sign him to an extension. Is that crazy? Yes or no, Terry Foster?
It's not crazy. I don't think I would do it. I was thinking more of 2 first-round picks and maybe a third. I think you can get him for that. But what Spinney is saying is not crazy, because if you can get Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on the field at the same time, my goodness. You talk about going all in, they're all in. Okay? So Spencer's doing something that no GM in Detroit would do now, because we're in this conservative mode. We gotta protect our money, we gotta protect our prospects, got to protect everything. But at some point, if your window is open, and the window isn't just to make the playoffs, because the regular season with the Lions doesn't matter either. Matters a little bit. Of course, you want to make the playoffs, but it's all about what they do in the playoffs. It's all about, are they going to win a Super Bowl? So you put Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on the same field, that porous defense we saw last year, they turn into monsters. And all of a sudden, you might have a parade down Woodward. So I don't think he's crazy. I think you can get away with it for less than 3 first-round picks, but I'm not hating him for that.
No, I'm not hating him for that at all. I think that would be arguably the best pass rushing duo that has ever been assembled on an NFL football field. And when you look at how this league has turned into a pass rushers league, where that is the only way to even put pressure on these elite offenses, I think that there's a lot of validity to what Spencer has to say. I think that you are making yourself the perennial favorite. That is going out and doing the opposite of what the Detroit Tigers did at this trade deadline, where they would be going and the Detroit Lions would be saying, all right, NFL, come F with us. We are the best team. We are going to load up this roster. So you are looking at us like, damn, we got to block Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on top of Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader in the middle when Aleem comes back healthy. I think that's a paradise to be in, and I would do the 3 first-round picks. I do believe that would guarantee you a Super Bowl.
Now, here's why the Lions are not going to do it, because Brad
Well, they're not going to do it.
is going to look down the
close.
road and say, I can't pay Hutch and Michael Parsons. I can't pay them both. But if you have them for 1 year, and let's say Parsons says, we can't reach an agreement, I'm out, then you're back in the same boat that you were before next year, which is fine, but you've taken a shot at a Super Bowl with the best pass rush in NFL history. So you've taken that shot. Then if he walks, then you're in the same boat that you're in now, where you got Hutch and you got some other very good players, and that this defense could develop better to be better next year, because now you have another year of all these guys together. Yeah, they won't have Parsons, but they still have Hutchinson. Now, Holmes is of this mentality. He's got his pass rush. With Hutchinson, he only needs one guy. That's
seems like it.
That's what he believes. But I think we need put a little red pepper up his ass and get a Michael Parsons.
I mean,
what's it gonna hurt?
It wouldn't hurt for sure. Like I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I just know who our GM is, and I would only do it under the circumstances of, okay, max 2 first-round picks. I'm not going over that. I'm hanging up the phone if you're talking anything more than 2 first-round picks. And it would just be for a rental. I'm not signing him long-term, because you could have Aiden and Micah Parsons on the same team under, new contracts, but say bye-bye to Brian Branch, say bye-bye to, J-Mo, say bye-bye to Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not ready to, to tear apart our whole team for one player. Now, if it's a rental situation, let's go all in. We give 2 first-round picks. If we get to the Super Bowl, Hey, at least you can say you tried. If you don't get one, at least you can say you made every move possible to make this defense as good as it can be. I'm just not signing them long term if we do trade for them.
They got the money short term. So you don't have to say goodbye to Brian Branch. You don't have to say goodbye to J-Mo. You don't have to say goodbye to anybody. You're going to say goodbye to Alex Anzalone because he's old.
Well, yeah, they already got to say goodbye to him.
But use him as a rental. How about this? Let's get out of the whole let's look down the road. Let's look 5 years down the road. How about the here and now? You got an opportunity to be the best team in the National Football League. Now, if you have Parsons and Hutchinson, do you fear the Philadelphia Eagles?
No. You wouldn't fear any
fear
team
no man.
with that pass rush. Come on now.
Right.
They just need to stay healthy.
Right. And there's no guarantee that'll happen, but I like my chances. I like the chances. This used to be a town where everybody was aggressive because, Detroit, we blue collar. We all swolled up and, we're not afraid of anything. Now it's turned into, we're running ball clubs and we're trying to win stuff 7 years from now. We could all be dead in 7 years.
That's a fact.
Or
Meteor could hit tomorrow.
Bam, Meteor, and one is coming.
Yeah.
So I like winning stuff when you have the opportunity. Because even if, let's say, Branch and J-Mo and everybody, they stay together, guess what's going to happen one day? They're going to get old. Brian Branch is not going to be Brian Branch. He's going to be slow.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to hit people. So the Lions, these guys, one day you're going to wake up and say, damn, Brian Branch is 31 years old. How'd that happen?
I mean, that's true, Terry, but we got a long time before that happens. Like, everybody a part of this core right now is somebody that's going to be here for a long time. And Brad Holmes realizes that and does want to sign his own guys.
You hope.
But they are young. They are
hope.
very young in this process.
What if Brian Branch says, you know what, I had a good time in Detroit. His next contract is up. I want to play for the Rams.
And he could do that.
There's no guarantee these guys are going to want to stay.
That's true. But Brad Holmes getting ahead of the curve and signing these guys early to long-term deals, I mean, it's a strategy involved in that. But you're absolutely right. It could go the other way.
But you know why he did this? And it was smart. I know he was criticized for it, but here's what the Lions used to do. They would have guys who actually deserved the money, and they would dick around with money
Exactly.
on them. And then,
which is why I can appreciate what
and
Brad
then
did.
I'm not getting paid, so I'm going over here to Jesus and say, Jesus, man, they're not paying me, bro. You next, and they're not going to pay you either. So now Jesus is like, well, shit, what's going on around here? They're not playing T-Foss. Then he gets pissed off.
Yep.
Then he doesn't play to his level. Then he comes to you and say, hey, they're dicking T-Foss and they're dicking me. Now you're like, damn, I'm next.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to take care of me. So that used to permeate through the locker room.
Yeah.
Guys would be pissed off and they wouldn't play up to their potential. So I get it why he paid some of these guys, because he wants happy campers. Guys talk to each other. Their agents talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They talk to people around the league, and they could be like, hey, don't come here because I don't care what you do, they're not going to pay you.
And I think we are just sitting here waiting for one of these GMs in this town to actually just take the market by the balls and just get what they deserve and what they need to get the job done. Right now, we are sitting and looking at one of the best Lions teams that's ever been assembled, but you also hear talk about, oh, the Eagles are pretty good. The Rams are going to be pretty good. And the same for the teams in the AFC. There is no perennial favorite. And if there is a perennial favorite by anyone outside of Detroit, it is Philadelphia. And that's where you can make some of these life-changing, franchise-altering moves that can put you over the top and make you that favorite. Because you see, Philadelphia last year with their pass rush was able to completely controlled the Super Bowl against Mahomes. Mahomes couldn't even get a throw off, and that's why they had such a big lead going into halftime. I want to emulate the most dominant team. Like you said, it is about not letting up, being the most dominant team in the sport, and that's where these franchises, all of them, need to get to be aggressive, to try to be that dominant figure, regardless of if they're restricted by a paywall or not.
Let me just say this. I'm not a ball buster.
Yeah.
I'm only a ball buster when you're in position to bust some balls. I mean, if we're talking about the Lions is also ran, if the Tigers is also ran, I'd be all for this strategy. Let's develop the young kids and let them grow up, and let's keep our draft picks, and we'll worry about the future in the future. But when you're in position, when the Tigers, are they the best team in the American League or the second best? We can debate that. It's one of the two.
It's debatable.
Right. Which means you've got a legit chance to go to the World Series. The Lions. When we talk about Philadelphia, who's next? Rams, Lions?
Yeah, in terms of the NFC, yeah.
Right. So you're in position. You are a major player. So if you get an opportunity to bust balls, bust them. So, because if you're fourth in the division, that's not busting balls. That's just cracking coconuts, and that doesn't matter.
Yes, and you know what does matter is this next ad read. KG, where are we going on this one?
How about you tell them about Dr. Pierce in the event we had today?
Let me tell you about Dr. Pierce. Dr. Pierce is your guy to talk about your health needs. He is on Big D Energy from 11 to 1 on Tuesdays, and the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep from 2 to 4, and they were nice enough to have us out here at the Athletes Unlimited Golf Outing to support disabled athletes, including the sled hockey teams that have been popping up around here. I've seen them play. It is quite remarkable stuff. So make sure, if you can, you support. Make sure you scan the QR code and see how you can get involved here with Dr. Pierce. Thank you so much for him having us out here today.
Get ready for unfiltered sports talk like never before. Join Braylon Edwards and Shep as they bring you the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Has a man open. Touchdown, Michigan. Braylon Edwards.
Where no topic is off limits. What are they thinking? How do jocks really feel?
Here comes a little blitz. Blitz is picked up, though, on the pass thrown to Edwards. Touchdown.
Tune in Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network for hot takes, heated debates, and the latest sports news. It's time to elevate your sports game. Don't miss out.
You know what it is. It is Black Rock, as they are doing 8 weeks of giveaways as we roll into the 4th week of their awesome giveaways. And congrats to last week's winner, Brian Anderson, on his brand new Traeger grill. And now you can win a helicopter tour for 2 over the great, beautiful city of Detroit. Enter by scanning the QR code on the screen, and every entry also gets you a shot at the grand prize, 4 tickets to the home football opener on September 14th. Entry closes August 10th. Make sure you get in there, ready, set, sizzle. Welcome back to Big D Energy. I am Justice Atawa, and I am joined by the legendary Terry Foster.
Can I give a shout out to Brian, who won the Traeger grill?
Yeah.
Big shout out.
Bro, I'll help you a little bit. I got a Traeger. I got the ribs down, beef brisket.
Is Traeger like the Jeep people? Whenever you see somebody with a Traeger grill, you just give them a nod?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause it's
So you be hitting the wave to my dad that my dad's a big Traeger grill guy.
Okay. So I used to grill everything, and then I started smoking. I'm like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
This is good.
Smoker a bad.
What's your dish, like, or your meat that you are the best at?
I think my ribs are very, very, very good.
Sticky ribs.
I don't do the stickies. That's an art form.
Yeah. So
I haven't
you like
figured that one out.
You like dry rub then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dry rub, and then I don't let the wife put barbecue sauce on it.
Oh.
I said, girl, try it without the barbecue sauce. And she said, oh, this is really good. I said, why you want to mess it up?
Yeah, not everybody can make just good dry rub ribs, though. Because if you get them without the sauce, then you know you got a good rib.
I got the Traeger, and I get my spices from this company in Houston.
Ooh.
And they got bourbon, maple, you name it.
Yeah.
Butter pecan. They got all kinds of
Butter
rub.
pecan.
Yeah. It's a little weird, but it's good.
Yeah.
So I do that. And, and I have a smoking buddy here at Traeger, not at Traeger, but here at Woodward Sports, Sean.
Oh, yeah. Shout
Sean
out
Belizean
Sean.
loves.
Big meat guy. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another thing Sean is big on is this Detroit Lions offense. And I had a take on the pregame show that I believe that this year the defense is going to be the unit that leads the way. I do think the offense will also be elite, but I do truly think that this defense takes the step towards being an elite unit, as I do believe that they're going to be a top 5 defense this year.
Oh, we don't need Mike in here.
Jerry, am I smoking crack right now, or am I liable with my thinking here?
Smoking crack, no, but
He might.
the word lead, I'm a little leery of. I think they're going to be competent. I think they're going to help the Lions win. Lead just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I can't see this defense leading them anywhere. I can see the defense not embarrassing itself. Top 5, top 8, but that's nothing to squibble over.
Why do you think that, Justin? Why do you think the defense going to be better than this Lions offense that's high-powered as fuck?
I know how high-powered the Lions offense is, but I do truly believe the offensive line is going to take a slight regression. I don't think that it is going to be this guaranteed top 5 offensive line. And the offensive line makes this go, and that's where I do believe we're going to be leaning on the defense more. I think a lot of people are forgetting how dominant this defense was to start the year last year. They were really making offenses extremely uncomfortable, especially with the way Hutch was able to get after the quarterback. And they're probably not going to start like it, considering the fact that Lee McNeil is out. But if they're able to continue to stay healthy and Lee McNeil comes back, I do believe that there is just as much talent on the defense with a chance to overtake the offense.
All right, Justin, you tripped over yourself with one word, and that one word is slightly. You said the offensive line is going to be slightly taking a step back. Slightly is still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. David Montgomery, is he still going to be knocking the shit out of people when they hit him?
Yes.
Okay. Gibbs, is he still going to be the fastest dude in the league when he
Best
runs
running back
around?
in the league.
If you get to that second level, it's raps.
Right. So that's why I don't fear that. Jared Goff, I admit he does not have the white boy wiggle that's going to free him from the inside rush. But when you look at the Lions' offense, it's pretty simple. It's a check down offense. They're not going up top, except the JMO sometimes, and they've done it with St. Brown a little bit. But those passes are 8-9 yards, and it's quick. It's a timing thing. I don't think the lack of an offensive line, if you want to call it that, is going to make a difference. Now, I give you that. Penei Sewell. Is Penei Sewell going to still be a bulldozer?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Is Taylor Decker, if healthy, still going to be an above average?
Yes.
Just came off the pup list.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is a young man's league. I like the fact that they got younger guys in the interior.
I agree.
I don't like the fact that the center retired.
Yeah.
But I still think this offensive line is going to be decent. And you're still going to have Penei Sewell. I mean, this dude, some people think he's the best player in the National Football League. I would not go that far because he's knocking people on their ass. But he's still pretty damn good. And Taylor Decker, I have a lot of respect for him, too.
And I just with me, the way this offensive line is set up, like you still have Decker, you have Glasgow, who is probably going to start at the center, and you have Penei on the other end. So those are the 3 key positions on your offensive line that are covered. you're essentially just looking at your guard spots. And I feel like with the experience around them and also your offensive line coach, Hank Fraley, I don't see this offensive line taking that much of a step back. It might be rough going for the first couple games, but after that, once they hit a stride, I feel like they'll be just as good as we've seen them be, even with the younger guys.
Yeah, Hank Fraley is considered the best in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what's going to be missing is the leadership. Now you're going to have a rookie in there. Maybe Glasgow isn't quite ready to be a man of leadership.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a concern. But you use the word slight, and I'm going to agree with you on that one.
I just think that you can look at this defense and you see the amount of elite talent that you also see on the offense. You have Aiden Hutchinson, top 5 edge rusher. You have Aleem McNeil when he's healthy, borderline top 5 defensive tackle. You have your corners are taking a big step forward. I think DJ Reed is an upgrade from Carlton Davis, and then you have the two best safeties in the NFL as well. I think it is comparable, and I just have a lot of faith in this defense from what they showed me at the beginning of last year. If they're able to come back healthy, stay healthy, and that is the big question mark that comes with this take is will they be able to stay healthy?
It's just hard to top the number 1 offense in the NFL, man, and that's what the Lions were bringing back out. And with the defensive side of the ball, that's where you're more susceptible to your injuries, man, as we've seen over this last year. So I would love for them to be top 5 because I feel like if you're top 5, you're absolutely making the Super Bowl. If you have a number 1 or a top 3 offense and a top 5 defense, you should be in the Super Bowl and you should be winning it flat out.
I'm going to give you guys 3 words. Law of averages. Law of averages says the Lions defense can't be as decimated this year as it was last year. Law of averages say, you know what, you may have 3 or 4 injuries, but you're not going to have 14, 15, 16, 17. So they're going to have a better defense. And I will fight you slightly on the word lead this team because the offense is so good.
It's great.
And it is an offensive league, so it is kind of hard to lead as a defense.
All the weapons you have, it's going to be tough to do that. But if they can get near the offense's level, I think this team is as good as they can be. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're talking about 14 wins again if that happens.
I think that 14 wins is more in the cards than 10 wins. I think that everyone wants to make way about the schedule and how difficult it is, and I truly don't believe so. I was going at KG about it, where KG wasn't confident about the schedule. He was saying, oh, well, it might be 10 wins, might be 11 wins. And I literally took him through the entire schedule, and it's made in a blocks where you have winnable games in between all these difficult matchups. And this team is good enough where they're not going to lose every single big game on the schedule.
Correction there, young man. I said.
You sound like me.
In my Terry Foster voice.
I thought I was saying that.
No, but I had this team pegged for 13 at first, then I wavered to 12, and now I'm back up to 13. But I did say those first 7 games, I felt like they had a good chance to maybe only win 2 or 3 games out of those first 7. And once we went through it, I got to, what was it, 5? I think I was 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
By the time
so
we got
you went
to the
from 2-5 to 5-2?
Yes.
What is up with you, Limu?
Hey, once we actually went through the games,
all right.
Once we actually went through the games, you start realizing stuff a little bit, but things can change. I mean, it's the National Football League. You really don't know until that given week what you have ahead of you. But
it's every given Sunday for a reason.
The Lions have a brutal gauntlet to start that year, and a lot of those AFC opponents you are facing on the road back to back to back. So that's where I kind of am concerned or are worried. But if they can come out of that with at least 3 victories, we'll be in good shape.
Because, all the good teams they're playing, they're not going to lose to all of them. And here's another conversation going on around the NFL. Kansas City, Baltimore, the Commanders, Philadelphia, you know what they're saying? Shit, we got to play the Lions. That's going to be a tough game.
Absolutely.
We may not win that game. So the same concerns you have here, the concerns are with other teams. And let me let you guys in on another secret. You know what happens when your team becomes good? Your schedule gets tougher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because TV wants you, and TV doesn't want the Lions playing What's the worst team in
The
football?
Panthers or
Yeah,
something.
the
Giants.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Right, or the Giants or something. Now they want marquee matchups. So Kansas City's going to have a tough schedule. The Lions are going to have a tough schedule. Philadelphia's going to have a tough schedule because we want to see the elite teams play. If we're going to stay up till 10 o'clock on a Sunday, we want it to be a good game.
Absolutely.
We don't want scrub football.
And you know who also doesn't want scrub football? That is
Oh, my bad. Let's go to Loam.
Loom Cannabis. They are as elite as they come. They have the Buzzin' 7.5 milligram THC seltzers. They are so light and nice, especially on the golf course. You can use code WSN30 or scan the QR code on the screen to order for pickup, and they will send it to any of the convenient locations they have around the state of Michigan. From Walled Lake to Petoskey, they will get you set up. So make sure you go to Loom and get your weed from there because it is the best in the game.
Detroit has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network. Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Back here, we want to say what up to our friends at Mad Packs. Mad Packs has the best pre-rolls in the game, around 30 dispensaries in the Metro Detroit area. They have the high-low pre-rolls, getting you high for the low, and the Boom Shakalakas as well. Those are THC-infused Blizzard packs that hit like crazy, so make sure you check out Mad Packs when you go visit a dispensary near you today. Welcome back, Woodward Sports, Big D Energy. I am Justice Ottawa, filling in for Neil Rule, as I am joined by the legendary Terry Foster and KG, holding it down in both booths today. Shout out to him being the dream versatile guy that we hope for him to be. But Glover Quinn talked about the Detroit Lions, and he said that this team needs to face some more adversity before they get into the postseason this year. How do you feel about that, T-Foss? And if you do agree with Glover Quinn, what type of adversity would be successful to making this team as good as they can be?
Now, Glover Quinn was talking about them losing games. The losing games is not that bad. What he was saying is the Lions didn't face grit. And essentially is what he's saying. I get what he's saying. I think that's unnecessary. Now, the Lions won a bunch of games, but a lot of those games are like going down to the wire, and it showed that they were on that day a little bit more mentally tough, that's why they won these games. They won 15 games, but they all weren't easy. Yeah, they had some blowouts, but I still go back to this. This is why Glover Quinn is a little bit off base. Lions lost to the Commanders because they didn't have a defense. All those dudes were gone. And, you know, we talk about this preseason game they just had with the Chargers. Dudes being in Lowe's and Burger King and McDonald's. That's the defense the Lions threw out there. I didn't see Ali McNeil out there. I didn't see Hutch out there. A bunch of guys were gone. It was a flukish thing. It was almost like God said, or the sports guide said, Lions, we're not going to let you do it this year. Sorry. So it was like the sports world says, we're going to do everything to prevent the Lions from making a playoff run because you the Lions.
And it seemed that way, and I think that in the last few years you've seen the heartbreak that a lot of the local teams have gone through that has ended up willing them to very successful seasons. You saw Michigan losing the Fiesta Bowl to TCU, getting upset in that game, and then going on to win the national title the year after that. You had Western Michigan last year go from being a no-name to winning a national title in hockey as well. And I think you saw the Pistons as well. They went from being the worst team in the NBA to then making noise and becoming a playoff team and competing with the Knicks. And I think that having those failures, and last year as they seemed like they got a little complacent towards the end as they were sustaining injuries and they didn't have enough at the end of the day, but the mentality seemed like it had slightly changed throughout the season where they needed that wake-up call. They're even more hungry than they were last season, and we thought they were hungry last season, but to hear them speaking on a day of reckoning, as David Montgomery said, they are in this ish, they are ready to go, and I am just so excited to watch this team dominate against the inferior opponents and then be able to hold the sword to every single team that is competing to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, see, I don't think they became complacent. You remember how important that Minnesota game was? It was like, this is like the game of the century, and then they kicked their ass, and it was tight for a half, and they beat them 31-9. I think that was a game that but then all of a sudden when the Lions won that big game, then we said, well, Minnesota's not that good. So we as a fan base, we as a media keep moving the goalpost on them. We say the Lions, after they lost to the Commanders, well, the Lions can't win a big game. Okay. Wasn't beating Tampa Bay the year before in the playoffs a big game?
Yes.
But now it's not a big game. Wasn't beating the L.A. Rams in the playoffs the previous year a big game?
Yes.
But now it's not a big game. So we keep moving the goalpost.
Well, to been there, done that type of mentality. Like, we've been there, we've done that, we've gotten these wins that we haven't had in our franchise's history. So now it ultimately is capturing that big prize. And I think the complacency doesn't necessarily come from the players. I think it mainly came from Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson had to sit there during the NFC Championship or the NFC playoff game and sat there like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm going to throw the ball a bunch of times instead of using the best running back in the NFL against the worst rushing defense in the NFL. Oh, my God, I'm Ben Johnson. I'm going to call a pass with J-Mo. I think that that's where the complacency came into this team. It wasn't necessarily from the players because you're right. They were fired up about that Vikings. They were unwilling to lose that Vikings
I don't want to strangle you on your words again, but actually what happened was, hi, I'm Ben Johnson. I'm so cute. I can do anything I want. I can have J-Mo throw the ball. I can have Penei Sewell throw the ball because I'm Ben Johnson. Because I'm really cute.
I think your impression was better than mine, but I think we are in lockstep there that Ben Johnson was the one who got complacent, and that's why I think it's so refreshing seeing Jonathan Morton in this role because of the way that I believe he is no BS. He's not like Ben Johnson where he gets all cute, and I can't wait to see what this offense actually looks like with our pieces on the field, to see in the ways that he's been talking about using J-Mo and how he's running more routes, and he's going to use him deep as well. I'm very intrigued by this Jonathan Morton offense, and I think that there is potential for it to look better as it's more simple and it's more of a, we are going to do this. Stop us if you can, and I think we have the players to make it impossible for teams to stop.
Right. Here's something coaches will always deny, but this does happen. You read your press clippings, and Ben Johnson had read for probably 2.5, 3 years of how great he was. So then you do become complacent. You know, I can do anything, and you can't stop me because I'm cute, right? So I think that's what happened. Now, I know you're referring to the 3rd and 1 play where they passed. I actually don't have a problem with them passing in that situation. The problem I have is you don't have a running back in the backfield where you could run if you want to. You're not showing run. When you have an empty backfield on 3rd and 1, you're telling the whole world we're going to pass.
I completely agree. I think that there's just those little elements where even if you would have had just Jahmyr Gibbs on the field as a decoy, it puts enough pressure on a defense where they have to account for him, which maybe gives that one step for Sam Laporta to be able to break off that linebacker and get open. I think it's so crucial, especially now hearing that Morton's going to put all the playmakers on the field. He's going to spread them out. He's going to put pressure on you to make decisions, to guard certain guys, and they're going to use everyone. And that's what I wanted to see. I want to see Sam Laporta carve out more of a role this year. I want to see J-Mo carve into Amon-Ra St. Brown's yards. I want St. Brown's yards to not be at 1,400. I want both of them to be at 1,200. So two cornerbacks have to decide which is our wide receiver one on the day, and then let the other one eat, and we have that versatility to be able to be so effective on every facet of the field with every player where you don't know who's going to hurt you on that day. And I think that's the point where Morton is going to get them, where Ben Johnson was more flash, and we're going to see the progression.
He wasn't all flash at first.
Wasn't,
he
no.
understood this is a running team.
Yes.
St. Brown is a possession receiver. Yeah, we're going to do trick plays, but we're going to do them conservatively. We're going to do it smartly. But then it was like, let's make this romper room. I'm a cutie pie, so I'm going to do whatever I want. Y'all shut up because it's going to work. But then he got too cute, too cutie pie. So, but the thing is, and I think the Lions will go back to their roots, the Lions are a running football team. Yes, they got J-Mo. Yes, they have Laporta, and they got St. Brown, and they're all great players. But bottom line, this team has 2 different running backs, and they can run you up and down the field. Now, the other thing that I think Ben Johnson, and here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to trash Ben Johnson because he's not here. But I think he did a great job here. Wonderful job.
Yes.
But then at the end, he became somebody else. He read the press clippings. He read how he could do no wrong. So
there was an arrogance that was developed by Ben Johnson, and you could see it too. Like, it was the way that he started to carry himself. He changed, and I think that it all came to fruition when he did finally get that Bears job, and you saw how arrogant he is at his press conferences, and he was leading to that point. If you slowly watch the progression last year, as he was always in the media, like, oh, yeah, we had that one drawn up, T-Foss. I bet you like that one,
right,
sitting at home. And I think that at the end of the day, complacency is the only answer when it came to Ben Johnson. And in the press clippings, it all paid a toll at the end. And Doughboy Steve says they still put up 31, which should have won in the NFL. Well, it is not when you are getting empty possessions because the Commanders are sitting back and letting you do whatever you want because they're just trying to bleed the clock out and win the game.
Right. They were never a threat to lose that game.
Nope.
Ever. So, and part of that, you had an opportunity. Now, we talk about putting your foot on somebody's neck. They had the opportunity to put the foot on the Commander's neck early, and they didn't because they got too cute. They stopped being a running game, a team, which that's what they are. You became something that you're not. And so then you have an empty possession. You have an opportunity to go up 11 at the time. You didn't. You let the Commanders come back and then get their offense rolling. Their quarterback was all, milly-nilly, I can do no wrong, and then that was in the ball game.
Yeah, and we apologize for the technical difficulties as the video has been frozen, but the audio is still working, so we will still continue to give you guys the coverage that you guys desire. T-Floss, you want to talk about back quarterbacks?
Of course.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hendon Hooker is starting today, or starting in the game this weekend, though, instead of Kyle Allen. I think that it will be another game where we don't see a lot of starters, and there's not a lot of substance to this game as we saw in the Hall of Fame game. But One thing I do want to hit on is the fact that Calvin Shepard has been given the Aaron Glenn treatment of sorts to start his career. With already people questioning him, and I think how much time do you have to give Calvin Shepard? Because you saw with Aaron Glenn, it took weeks for him to finally get this defense to a point where you felt comfortable in them. How long do you think the fans need to be patient in order to see Calvin Shepard's effect on this defense?
Can we at least get some starters on the field? Can we at least see September? Yeah, that was an embarrassment, but it should have been. Dan Campbell has made the decision not to start starters. He didn't even put Tyleik Williams out there, who's a rookie. He's protecting his players. You can't ask anybody to have a stout game plan when he doesn't have players out there. So I think it's ridiculous that people would question him yet. We don't know what's going on with this dude yet. We don't know what's going on with this defense. When you start seeing people out there, and if you see the same problems. Now, I saw guys huffing and puffing out there. They couldn't even catch the wide receivers. They couldn't catch the running backs on the Chargers. So that's not a defensive coordinator's fault when your third and fourth string guys are huffing and puffing and can't catch people. That's just part of the game. Now, one thing that I would say, the fewer preseason games we see, the better, because they don't matter. They're nothing. And all there are is there's dudes wearing Lion uniforms. That doesn't mean that they're Lion players.
Do you think there are any positional battles that really matter out there? I know there's been a lot of talk about Rock Ya-Sin and him getting some reps at safety. Is that a guy that you think has a legitimate chance to find some playing time on this roster?
Finding some player time, yes. Is he going to supplant Branch? Is he going to supplant Kirby Joseph? No. But you need a rotation. You need guys to come out sometimes. So, yeah, we're talking about rotational pieces. We're talking about battling for rotational positions, which means third, fourth string, maybe a few plays here, a few plays there. So, yeah, there's going to be battles there. But the Lions team is set. They know who their starters are. They know who the best players are. Brad Holmes has done a wonderful job in assimilating assembling this, and but I just don't think there's much to this preseason. Here's the thing with the preseason is get guys healthy. Make sure they stay healthy. And you're getting most of your work during the training camp where you have other teams coming in. That's where you get most of your work. The preseason is just the NFL's way to make some money and to make you think that games are important, when in actuality they're not.
No,
if it was up to me, there would be no preseason games.
I agree with you. I think that there should be no preseason games. I think it's a complete money grab by the NFL. It's honestly a scam, and it doesn't help any of the players. And now they're talking about going to the 18-game season. How do you feel about them possibly going to an 18-game season and shortening the preseason? Which, in my opinion, I think that it wears more on the athletes and makes it harder for them to have these sustainable careers. And there's no really real positive for the players. It only is positive for ownership.
Well, the players may get a little bit more money, but it's positive for the fans because the fans want to see more real football. In the National Football League, here's what I hear all the time: player safety, player safety, player safety. So you make it safe by playing Thursday games. You make it safer by playing 2 extra games than you did a few years ago. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the players' welfare. They don't care about any of that. It's all window dressing. The bottom line is they're trying to appease to you, fans, who want to see football on Sunday and Monday, Thursday, Saturday, 5 days a week. That's what you want. So the NFL is trying to make some money. They're trying to make you happy. And forget the whole let's make the game safe for the players, because that's not what they're doing. The only thing that, the NFL's done nothing. I'm not going to say Here's what the NFL has done to make the game safer. They have this cockamamie kickoff, new kickoff rule, which, by the way, a lot of the regular players they're not even on the field. These are, these are your backups. You guys just trying to make the team so they play on the kickoff return. So it doesn't really make the game safer for frontline players. It doesn't make the game safer for Brian Branch, who's not likely to be on the kickoffs, or Aiden Hutchinson, who's not going to be out there, or Lean McNeil, who's not going to be out there. So once again, it's window dressing. But do I like an 18-game schedule? Yes. You know why? Because I'm a greedy motherfucker.
Yeah,
I want to see more regular season football.
I think that's the key to it. Is obviously I think all of us as fans would love to have that another week of actual football. I think, as you can see, the people already love the preseason enough where it forces them to beg and beg and beg for more football, and that's where I truly believe it is getting to a point where when is enough enough? When is – because we see the stretches. Last fall, it went from, I believe, first week of December to the end of January where it was football almost every single day with only 3 or 4 days off because, Maction comes around. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesdays, and then you got Thursday night football. But when is enough enough? When can we truly give these athletes the cap where it is enough to put your body on the line for 18 weeks? And when is the preseason going to become even less of a factor because they're not even going to want guys having one drive out there if they have to go out there for an entire additional game after they already added one last year.
Now I see why they call you Jesus, because you're a nice guy. You're thinking about the welfare and the health of athletes. Stop it, because that's not what this is all about.
Oh, I know, T-Foss.
When is enough enough? Well, they haven't reached that point because now they're taking games away from us and putting them on streaming devices. They're going to – we're not going to be able to just pay for our cable to see NFL games. Eventually, because of Netflix and Amazon and all this stuff, here's what's going to happen. This is going to piss me off. And I don't want you to talk to me when this happens because I'm going to snap at you. The Super Bowl playoff games are all going to be streaming services. No more NBC, no more ESPN. It's going to be Amazon, Netflix, HBO Max, which, you got to pay $12 extra a month. That's what this is where this is headed. Where does it stop? It stops when the fans put their foot down, and the fans are not going to put their foot down.
No, they're not.
They'll pay the extra $12. They'll pay the extra $20, whatever it is. Then they'll bundle it, and they're going to have – I tell you what, let me take you down the future, young man. They're going to have a bundled NFL package probably 8 to 10 years from now where you can pay for a monthly fee for your regular season games, which you're doing now, but you can pay a weekly fee for your playoff games. And the kicker is going to be, if you want to see the Super Bowl, you're going to have to pay extra for that too. That's where this is all headed, bro.
No, it is. It's headed to a pay-per-view system, a lot like you see with a lot of the fighting game as they, it's $99 to watch a UFC pay-per-view, and that's a ridiculous point that we're about to get to in terms of these streaming services. And we appreciate all of you guys staying with us through these technical difficulties as KG is going to grab a new monitor as ours just proceeded to collapse on itself midstream, which is why the broadcast is frozen. But you can hear us, and we appreciate you staying with us through the technical difficulties as me and T-Foss are still enjoying a beautiful day here at Oak Point Golf Club in Brighton. Shout out to Dr. Pierce for the Athletes Unlimited Golf Outing, the 28th annual. Terry, it'd be easier to get the whole nation to stop buying gas for one day to lower the price than getting them not to buy and watch the Super Bowl and playoff games.
No, I know this is a losing battle. I know I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to the birds. I know where this is headed. There's nothing that can stop this avalanche. But I'll let you know. I don't like it. I don't like where it's going. But everybody, I mean, sports is such an addiction. I mean, think about this. We pay, or fans pay, an extra $500 just to buy tickets to a college football game.
Yep.
Pretty soon, they're going to ask you to pay an extra $125 a year just to pay athletes in college, and you're going to do it. They're going to add student fees. They're going to add all kinds of fees just so you can watch the games. Now, right now, if you go to a concert, if you go to a game, and let's say you're lucky enough to find a $100 ticket. $100 ticket is going to cost you $175. There's no such thing as a $100 ticket. So what's going to happen is the ticket price is going to go up. Then they're going to have additional fees to pay players, to pay all kinds of stuff. But the fans are going to complain. They're going to bitch about it as they're reaching in their back pocket for their checkbook. And the National Football League knows this. And I've heard this question before. When is enough enough? You may never reach that point because people are always reaching for their pocketbook or their checkbook.
Yeah, and it's only going to become more prevalent as you're seeing these athletes start to get paid. And like you said, those student taxes and fees, like I can't honestly wait to see how universities start handling it, especially big universities who haven't had the capacity to be able to compete before, but now with the wave of being able to pay athletes, being able to institute some of these fees, these small fees that could inconvenience the entire student body in order to make their athletic teams more relevant, because that is where they can make the more money. I mean, you're seeing it with all these mid-major schools start to make the jump to the Pac-12 and trying to continue to climb the ladder of college sports and conferences, where it's putting these athletes in a position of power. And you're seeing like guys like Nico Mavalay, a lot. I'm not even going to try. I can't say it right now.
Just say Nico.
Nico tried to take advantage of the market, but he went about it in such a negative way where it completely screwed his position and caused his predecessor, Joey Aguilar, who came in to be the new Tennessee quarterback, to truly take advantage and go from having a minimal NIL deal to all the way having a $1.5 million estimated NIL deal from Tennessee.
Now, you're a big shot at Western Michigan.
I mean, not
necessarily.
No,
I don't hear you step. I don't hear this. Let's say Western Michigan says, "We'll give you some football tickets. Well, you can buy season tickets to see the Broncos play football, but in order to buy the tickets, which are going to be $800, you have to give us $500 first." Would you do it?
So you said $800 worth of.
Let's say, I don't know what season tickets are at Western Michigan. Let's say they're $800, and you want to buy some tickets. And they said, we'll give you the right to get those tickets, but you got to give us $500 first.
Oh, so you got to pay to get in the club to even have that second conversation.
Would you do it?
In my current fiscal state, no. But
See, I don't think you do it, period.
I don't think I would do, period.
But if I say, hey, you're a little bit older, you have to pay $500 to purchase Detroit Lion tickets, which are going to probably
that's a different conversation here.
You do that.
Yes.
So professional sports and big-time college sports know they got you. Central, Western, Eastern, UDM, not doing it.
Nope.
Because it's not important enough. We don't love it as much as we do the Lions. We don't love it as much as we do Michigan. We don't love it as much as we do Alabama. So they got you. You know what you are? Not you, but you know what sports fans are? Crackheads. They're crackheads. No matter how much they increase tickets, no matter how much they charge us to watch stuff on TV, we're purchasing it. Right? So they got you. It's like the drug dealer. The drug dealer says, hey, you know what? Crack is $100. you buy the crack. Then the drug dealer comes back 3 weeks later and says, oh, man, the crack is $500. You still buy it. The crack is $1,500. You still buy it. Professional and big-time collegiate sports is crack to the sports fans. You'll pay anything. Yeah, you're going to complain and say it's unfair and I don't like it and kiss my ass, but you're going to pay it. And they know you're going to do it. So your question is, how far will this go? Forever. This will go on forever. Because
18 games on the way after 18.
I think they'll stop at 18. I think they want to have an even number of games. But I can't guarantee that because then 19 means that they can throw away one of your home games and play it over in Europe. Because NFL wants to have a European.
Of course they will.
No, they want to have a division in Europe. Maybe Cologne, Munich, London, whatever. They would play each other, and then they would come over here a couple times a year, and then teams would go over there a couple times a year, and then they'd throw in the best records from NFL Europe, NFL United States, and you play for the Super Bowl.
You really think it's going to get that bad where it's going to be essentially AFL, NFL again, but in Europe?
Yes. The difference is it's all going to be under the umbrella of the National Football League. They're going to have a division in Europe. It would be of U.S. players. It would be like, I don't know what you call it. We have the NFC North, the NFC Central, the NFC East. This would be NFC Europe. AFC Europe. That's where this is headed. And so that's where I could see the 19th game. But I think, and of course I'm going to have this blow up in my face, I think they're going to stop at 18.
I really do hope they do stop at 18, but we don't want you to stop in the Super Chat. Thank you so much, Sideless, for the $5 Super Chat. The Lions are 5-8 under Dan Campbell in the preseason. Should we fire Dan Campbell? I know that's satire. We appreciate you, Sideless, and we appreciate you sticking around with the technical issues. We are still working on them, but we will continue to give you all the coverage that you need while we continue to work through our computer issues as we are coming down the stretch here at the Dr. Pierce 28th Annual Athletes Unlimited Golf Outing.
Everybody's out there in their pretty purple shirts.
Yes, they are. As you know, who has been looking very pretty this camp as Bryce Underwood has started to make his way through the social media realms with some of his practice tape, and he looks very good so far throwing the football. Got a lot of nice spin on that ball, and he looks athletic as ever as he was showing off his ability to roll out. T-Foss, you were able to go see him play at Belleville, is that correct?
That is correct.
And how are you feeling about Bryce Underwood's? What should his expectations be as he rolls into Michigan for his freshman season?
Well, he's an athlete, and Michigan should contend for a playoff spot because they were decent last year. They didn't have a quarterback.
Yes.
This is a legit quarterback. Bryce Underwood is the quarterback that Lion fans want. He's got a strong arm. And it's really smooth the way he can.
It's just a flick of the wrist for him.
Yeah, it's a flick of the wrist. The dude can run. Now, when I saw him play, he only passed like 8 times. But, dude, when he had that ball and tucked it under his arm, he was lights out. They lost the game, but the offense scored every time they had the ball.
So I heard Randall Cunningham from Sean Belizean this morning. Is that a good comp for Bryce Underwood, or are you trying to compare him to someone of a little less elite ilk to not set him up for failure his freshman season? Because I think comparing him to all these greats, as we've heard in the media, Ryan Clark said he looks like Trevor Lawrence and like Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield did in college as not Baker Mayfield, as the elite prospects as they came out. How do you feel about those types of expectations placed on someone who is unlike any of those guys, getting paid a boatload of money from the University of Michigan to be their starting quarterback.
Now, the father's side of me will say this. That's unfair. He's young. He hasn't proven himself. But the other part of me says, yeah, you should compare him to Randall Cunningham. You should compare him to elite quarterbacks on the collegiate level, because that's why they're paying him all this money. But the dude can play. So I think Michigan should contend for a playoff spot.
That's what I believe, and that should be the expectation. I think that 10-2 should be very attainable for this team, who does not play that many tough opponents. They have the classic Big Ten schedule where as long as you don't lose all your big games, you will make the playoff, and that is abnormally true, especially for Michigan, even though they do have Oklahoma on their schedule, which I am intrigued with that game, because I'm curious with the way that Chip Lindsey has come out and said about the quarterback situation, how he likes how Mikey Keene has progressed as he's come in the offense in the fall, as well as newly transferred Jake Garcia, who I'm curious if either of them get the nod in the first two games to not expose Bryce Underwood to the level of competition that Oklahoma could potentially bring him as a starter in his first true road game in a hostile environment in Norman.
I'd play him. I want to see what I've got. I'm not worrying about ruining him. I'm not worried about any of that, because this is going to be your guy.
Yes.
So you may as well see what you got.
And I'm with you, because I think last year was the perfect example of why you got to let your freshman quarterback go out there and make those mistakes when he is that good of an athlete, that good of a player, and of the premier variety that you do believe Bryce Underwood is from. Last year, the Florida Gators decided that they were going to roll with journeyman Graham Mertz, who was absolutely awful at the sport of football, who led them to a mediocre season, and then they did decide to finally turn the ball over to DJ Lagway, who went 6-1 down the stretch in their SEC schedule, as Graham Mertz wasn't even able to get a winning record for the Gators before they went into the treacherous SEC schedule. And that's why I think that if you're going to have Bryce Underwood be your guy, you are going to need to have him be that elite guy. And I think just getting the bumps off the road, out of the gate, to be able to say that he is successful and he has the growing pains out of the way for when you're playing the Ohio States down the stretch, when you're in, hopefully, the playoffs. I think that all that experience will pay off in terms of letting him start out of day one.
Guess what could happen, young man? They could go to Oklahoma and win with Bryce Underwood. Let's say you play somebody else and you lose. And it's the difference between being 9-3 and 10-2, and you miss the playoffs. So that's why I'm saying Michigan did not have a quarterback last year. They got a quarterback this year. Let's see him. Let him play. Let him grow. And the Michigan team is a young team. I think younger players like to gravitate towards another younger quarterback. This is our guy. We're going to roll and die with you. So you may as well roll with him now.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you have to have that belief in your guy, and I think that you've seen this team rally around him, as in the media they've talked about how he seems like he's a veteran presence. He doesn't seem like he's 17 years old, and that's what you have to hear out of a guy who's a true freshman, who is supposed to come in here, be the starting quarterback for one of the premier college football brands in the entire country. I think that does put a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but from what I've heard from you, from Sean, it seems like the kid can handle anything. He seems like he's as down to earth as it gets, seems calm, cool, and collective, has that aura that we like to talk about that does affect things at times, in my opinion. I think having aura, being calm, cool, and collected is a skill. It's not just something that isn't measurable. I think that being able to overcome those moments where it does become tough and you have to just look at things and know, if I ball out, I can come out of any situation. I think that's the type of mentality Bryce Underwood has.
Let me challenge the Michigan coaching staff, because a lot of times Michigan gets some really good jewels and they don't let them play. I don't want to see him handing the ball off all the time. I don't want to see the 1970s Bo Schembechler Wolverines return. This dude has elite talent.
Yes.
Let's see it.
Yes.
Be above everybody else. Be above this janky conference. Well, maybe it's not janky because they got
it's
still got Ohio
top-heavy.
State, right? Oregon, they're still, but I mean,
The
really.
bottom is gutter trash, and I am with you. And I think that seeing what Chip Lindsey did with Drake May was the predecessor to seeing what Bryce Underwood can do, and I think that utilizing Drake May as he did, showing off his mobility, is only going to be doubled in how they're going to utilize Underwood and making him comfortable early. I think that the way that college football schemes can be used, you can make it so simple for a guy that has the raw athletic tools that Bryce Underwood has, where you can make it easy on him with design rollouts, with 1-2-second reads, and the fact that he is so athletic. You said he only threw the ball 8 times. He's very good at escaping the pocket and making plays, regardless of how the game is going. But unfortunately, due to the technical issues, we are going to wrap up here to make sure that we can have everything fixed and set up for the Braylon Edwards show.
So it looks
with
like I'm
Shep.
going to have to take over the technical part and get this straight, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Old Terry Foster is going to come to the
I'm
rescue.
going to move a couple wires
make
around
sure
and get it straight.
that Braylon and Shep's show
I
does
have no idea
come
what any of
to-
this is. I'm going to fix it.
But we're going to have to leave you with that today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Big D Energy. We appreciate you guys sticking through us to the technical difficulties. We'll catch you in the next time. From Justin, from Terry, and KG holding it down. We appreciate your support, and we'll catch you in the next
I
time.
had fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right.